Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistant's assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Brace the runners! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the U.S. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
So good, so good, so good.
New markdowns up to 70% off are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. And that means thousands of can't-miss deals just in time for summer.
The denim section is unreal.
Why do I rack? All the dresses.
I always find something amazing.
Plus, buy it online and pick it up in-store the same day for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
The fourth wow. Is number 13.
Holy shnikes. Let's make it official, Bill Daly. Out of nowhere, from about center ice,
the winner of the 2025 NHL Draft Lottery and the first overall selection in the 2025 Upper Deck NHL Draft belongs to the New York Islanders.
Do you believe in miracles, Kenny Morrow? Because your team has pulled it off. The New York Islanders have won the NHL Draft Lottery. And that look from Kenny says it all. You have the lucky sweaters behind him, the lucky hat on top. And it's the Islanders who need a new man in charge to make that pick, who will pick first this summer in Los Angeles.
Hello and welcome to Islanders Anxiety from Lighthouse Hockey and the Fans First Sports Network. My name is Dan Saracini. Joining me on this Monday evening via Zencaster, it's my good friend Michael Leboff. And Mike, this is a momentous Monday evening because I cannot believe these words are about to come out of my mouth. The New York Islanders, our New York Islanders, who do not have a general manager, who don't even have an all-star game anymore, have the first overall pick in this year's NHL entry draft, courtesy of a very entertaining lottery show on ESPN. The numbers came up. Don't ever forget them. 7, 11, 12, 13 spells first overall pick for the Islanders. Where were you when that last ping pong ball popped up out of the thing, and you realize, holy shit, the Islanders have won the NHL Draft Lottery.
I was, I could still see myself perfectly right now. That's where I was.
Was that like an hour and a half ago?
I'm watching myself react with the growing chances. I was sitting on our chair and in our den. Isla was climbing all over me and asking me to turn on Bluey. And originally, I said okay, because I was like, oh, I don't. The first few minutes of the broadcast were just really annoying.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, they're not going to win me. I'll just say yeah, and I'll watch it on my phone. But then she got distracted by something, and that was sign number one. That good things were happening. She got distracted, and as the Islanders are still alive, and she was climbing all over me and stuff, and whacking me with one of Elvis's dog toys, and I just focused on the broadcast, and then the commercial break with the commercial break countdown clock,
right?
And I was saying, like, oh, man, I kind of just never want to come back from this commercial break because the Islanders are still alive, and they should just be like, oh, by the way, we'll reveal who gets the first overall pick at the draft. That way you can still dream. I don't want the dream to end. And then I don't know, it's weird, man. Like, I think I've heard this from a few people then. Like, there was something, and maybe every it's winners by, like, it's like, history is written by the victors kind of stuff. But I had this weird feeling basically after the first ball came out that something was up. And then I started to think about the weird stuff that happened today.
Which we'll get to in good time. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Without getting into it, like, All-Star game gets taken away. Kathy Hochul pipes up. Just weird stuff's going on. And there's all these kind of rumors about the GM search. It felt like a weird day, a very like foggy day. And then the Islanders win that lottery. And the first thing I thought about actually was that we this whole season, I was kind of pathetically like wagging my fist at the hockey gods all season because of the insane bounces that have taken place in this entire season, right? And we always talk about how it's really impossible to predict the season because weird stuff happens and your season takes left turns, right turns, zigs and zags, ups and downs, and you just can't write all that into it, into like projecting out how a season will go or how a trade will work out or how a career will go. Because so much of it just comes down to a puck bouncing off of Scott Perunovich's keister and into the back of the net, right? We talked about how horrible it was to get swept by the Rangers. They lose those 3 games to the Red Wings. The goalie interference call against the Blue Jackets. The game against the Blackhawks. The 7-1 loss to the Sabres. And all the shitty luck that the Islanders had in between. Barzal breaking his kneecap on his first ever 5-on-6 blocked shot. Varlamov ethered. Tony DeAngelo comes in from Russia. All of this, everything, you can make a list of all the weird shit that took place for the Islanders. Max Siplakov scores a game-winning goal 2 minutes and 30 seconds, with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left of his NHL debut, only to have it turned into not a game-winning goal by the Utah goddamn Hockey Club, like 2 minutes later, right? Like all of this, every weird thing that happened this season.
Even the coach said, it's been a weird season, I won't lie.
Yes. Mike Riley gets hurt on the same day that Adam Pelech, Mike Riley's life gets saved by getting hurt. It's Grant Hutton played a lot of games. Dennis Cholowski played for the Islanders for a while, for way too long, and then he played playoff games for the Devils.
Right.
Sam Bolduc popped in for a quick game against the Rangers.
Adam Boquist and Scott Perunovich are here now, apparently.
Yes. Yeah, they're here. They're still here. Right. The Islanders trade Brock Nelson, hold on to Kyle Palmieri. It's essentially reported that Palmieri's contract is in the drawer, but then that GM is gone, so we don't know where he is. Nobody knows about the coach. The Islanders have the worst penalty kill and power play in the league basically all season long. They have a disastrous 7-game winning streak and all that. All of it adds up, right? Everything. It was one of the strangest seasons ever to pop out a team that I think it finished exactly at NHL 500.
Something like that, yeah.
A season that just didn't even need to happen. But all of it happens. The Islanders spit out in this spot in the standings, and it leads to this. It leads to this. And what is so great about this? Well, there's a lot that's great about it, obviously. But what's the most Islanders part of this is that the consensus is one player, but everybody on Long Island's hoping for another player.
Right.
And I was thinking this before, and then I got a text from our buddy Matt, who said the same thing I did, which the only people who won this draft lottery more than the Islanders are the prospect grifters that have been shitting on the Islanders for years and years, because if the Islanders do take the local kid, these guys could be like, what a terrible pick, and they could still be mad at the Islanders, even though they draft first overall. So it's just, it's a win around the hockey world today. And I couldn't be happier. And but like I said, like the first thing that really rushed over me was just a weird montage of the season and how it led to this moment. And now I'm going to look back on the season so differently. A season from hell just got lifted up. And what a successful season this was.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but because this is a huge opportunity. But you're right. I mean, there was so many weird things going on all season long, right up till today. Again, the Islanders had the first overall pick in the draft and do not have a general manager. Like we don't even know. We don't even have like any finalists. We don't have any clue. I'm not trying to rush them or anything, but like we've heard maybe they want to get a president of hockey operations in first, who will then hire a general manager, which is like, okay, but that's like just adding weeks to, this process and everything. It's been an incredibly strange season. The governor is involved now. We'll talk about that in a minute. But here they come. And my story is similar to you, although my daughter is, she just turned 15 on Saturday. So her climbing all over me days are well over, but we sat down to eat. I put the show on. We sat down to eat and I was like, oh, the first half of this show is all rigmarole. I got plenty of time. So I ate, went in the thing, sat down just as they were kicking things off, noticed that Ken Morrow was there. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, okay, they're going to win this lottery now. Like, because I was like, Ken Morrow was there. He was there the last time they won the lottery. This man never loses. I thought he had his mustache back, but no, he still is clean shaven. But no, I was kidding. I didn't say that. But I told my wife and daughter at dinner, I'm like, the Islanders have like a 3% chance of winning this thing. So, I mean, it's probably not going to happen. So I sit down, and with the first lottery ball eliminates the Calgary Flames right away. And I felt bad for my Flames friends. I'm like, wow, that really sucked. And then there's another ball, and the Islanders all of a sudden are still in it. And like, what was it, like half a dozen teams all got kind of just cut immediately because they didn't have those numbers. Then they make a third pick, and the Islanders went from 3% chance of winning it to like an 18% chance of winning it. And my wife at this point is sitting next to me, and I'm like, holy crap, the Islanders are still in this. And they have like, now they have an 18% chance of winning. And if either a 5 ball or a 13 ball pops up, they've won the lottery. And then it goes to commercial. And kudos on the producers of the show to still figure out a way to get a commercial in there before the big reveal. The whole crew of it was hilarious. Bettman, Daly, Bouchagras, his stupid sneakers, the Price Waterhouse Coopers guy, the lottery ping pong ball guy. Great. Everybody played their parts perfectly. And so they come back. Then there's another 30 seconds. You're like, oh, come on, really? And I'm just thinking to myself, at first, I'm thinking to myself, 5, 13, 5, 13, 5, 13. And then I'm like, dude, there's no way they're going to get this. And it's going to suck because like you're coming to this edge, right? They're so close. And if one of those balls doesn't come up, the whole thing was a waste of time. The whole thing was a huge waste of time. And that 13 ball pops up. And before that guy's fingers even touched, his name was Chris, by the way. By the time Chris's fingers touched that ball, I said to my wife, holy shit, the Islanders just won the lottery. And that's when you guys started texting me. And I was like, oh my God, is this real? And it was just wild. And they showed Ken Morrow. He pumps his fist. Again, this man simply doesn't lose whenever he's involved. So I give him all the credit in the world for this. And it was a crazy thing. And actually, believe it or not, I'm sure it's out there, and I'm not going to go looking for it, but like, I got a lot of well wishes from people who are all fans of other teams being like, dude, that's awesome. Like, congratulations. Good on you. And I was like, okay, that's also kind of weird. But, it's an exciting time. We're going to talk about a lot of the anxieties and worries and stuff in a few minutes. But this is an exciting time. Like, we suffered through, like you said, one of the weirdest seasons the Islanders have ever had. Just nothing went right. Yes, they had a 7-game losing streak that was called disastrous by one person. But I mean, other than even that wasn't really enjoyable all that much because they were already well out of the playoffs. Even letting go of the general manager has brought up a lot of, questions, and it's exciting. But at the same time, you're like, okay, well, now what's going to happen? We've been talking about that for 2 weeks now. So I don't want to try and rain on anybody's parade. This is exciting. It should be exciting. They have a couple of real legitimate choices here. One of whom obviously is James Hagens, who we're going to talk a lot about in this episode and all the episodes we're doing coming up to the draft. But I did not expect to be in this position. When you and I scheduled this podcast, we were going to talk about some maybe GM candidates. I figured we'd talk about the coach, who we hadn't really talked about at this whole point. But now we're talking about the Islanders striding up at the draft in the decentralized draft, Friedge, with the first overall pick as of right now, barring a trade or anything. But again, even if they wanted to trade that pick, they don't have a general manager. Like, whoever wants to trade the pick doesn't even work for the team anymore, right? It doesn't even work for them right now. So, this is an exciting time, and as the playoffs are still raging on, Islanders fans have some real hope for the future, which is weird. All of a sudden that prospect pool that you just mentioned that people love to shit on, all of a sudden is starting to look pretty good. It's got some real gems in there, between Cole Yzerman, Cal Ritchie, Danny Nelson, Quinn Finley. Yeah. So all of a sudden things are turning around. But it is all contingent on making the right pick at first overall. And that's where it gets a little bit worrisome.
Oh, I'm not worried about it being the right pick in terms of who's going to be the better player, because there's no way to know.
I guess that's true.
I'm more worried about it because we know what the right pick is here. Like you do. We all know it. Like you picked the kid from Long Island.
Yeah.
You picked James Hagens. The guy was working on the goddamn Captain Lou in Freeport over the summers with his dad, who's a teacher. Like he was not just from Long Island. He is Long Island. Like that is, my cousin's husband worked on those boats, the Freeport charter boats. I had one of our 8th grade graduation dances was on one of them, and he worked it. Like, so he's like, see me like probably just be like a piece of shit with my piece of shit friends on this Captain Lou, or whatever charter, after we graduated 8th grade. And, but yeah, he's working, he's like cleaning fish and dealing with 8th grade assholes like me in the summers. He's an Islanders fan. This guy, James Hagens, if you saw him tomorrow and you said, hey, do you know who Radek Martinek is?
Oh, yeah.
He would say, I fucking love Radek Martinek. And that to me is all you need to qualify to be the best choice for the Islanders in this draft. Who cares if Matt Schaefer is, everyone's like, oh, he could be Kale McCarr, or he could be the next Quinn Hughes or whatever. Good. Who cares? Where's he's not, he didn't work the goddamn Captain Lou in the summers. Yeah. I don't care if James Hagens ends up playing 62 games in his NHL career. The Islanders pick him and he's just a bust. I could care. I wouldn't never be mad at the Islanders for picking this guy. Where I would be really mad at the Islanders is if they pass on him and the opposite happens and James Hagens flourishes and has a great career. Yeah. And even if the guy they do pick is good, like the guy you passed on the kid from Long Island who was the consensus number 1 overall pick going into the season and got passed by a defenseman who just like randomly became like the guy, like whatever. It's not, this isn't a situation where it's, oh, you're passing on Connor McDavid to draft, you're passing on Victor Hedman to draft the guy we drafted before Victor Hedman, right? This is not a situation like that, right? This isn't, who is it? Bobby Ryan went after Sidney Crosby.
Yeah.
It's not that, right? This is, you're passing on like Matty Beniers and picking fucking Owen Power. It's not like a huge leap. And one of the guys that you can pick is from Long Island. Like he was an Islander fan. How long have we been talking about that?
Yeah.
I'm like, I would not be like disappointed with any of the three prospects that are rumored to go first, but there is a right choice here. Like there just is. It's how can you pass this up? It's so good. It's so good. He might still work the Captain Lou during his Islander career. Like, you want this guy coming home from goddamn Chicago to work the Captain Lou? No, you want to be like, yeah, we had a great season with the Islanders, and now I'm cleaning fish.
Yeah, he's gonna be like Gordie Howe, working in like the warehouses and stuff.
Yeah, he's a fucking Billy Joel song. Like, he is.
Yeah, no, maybe I am overthinking this, and you're right, because I'm with you. I actually put this out on Blue Sky. I told some friends of mine too. They have to take this guy. Like, they just have to, because this opportunity comes around exactly 0 times.
Never. Right.
Never.
Right.
Especially for this team. Like, we're not talking about the Leafs or the Canadians.
Right.
Like, we're not talking about this team.
Yes, exactly. I think that's going to skew it, like, from other people from outside Long Island are going to be like, well, like, what does that have to do with anything? Well, you're talking to me from Vancouver or Minnesota. Like, that kids from Minneapolis are going to be there for you every draft and whatever, right? Like
Boston too. Yeah. Like,
this guy's from Hot Pog, man. Like, he's from Hot Pog. He's been in traffic on the LIE. He's has been to freaking All-American Burger, man. Like, this is an absolute home run for the team. And if you just swing and miss here, it could be the thing 10 years from now. We could be laughing about it, right? And be like, oh man, like they took a swing and it didn't work out, but whatever. It was still fun. It was fun to have that guy, right? And the draft was amazing, etc. Or they can swing and miss, and we could be like, I can't believe it. Like, this guy he just scored his 700th goal for the Blackhawks. He's one of the best players ever, right? Like, and he's from Long Island. It could be torture. There's one outcome where there's potential torture, and there's another where there isn't.
Right.
And when you're the Islanders, you always have to just veer towards the, I don't want to be tortured anymore.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think you've made a convincing argument because the thing is, like, even if they take Hagens, right, and he turns out he's not as good as, and we'll get to like the three guys in a minute, but like, let's say he doesn't turn out as good as the other guys, right? Or maybe some guy who we're not even talking about ends up being the best player in this draft. A, that's the way drafts work. But B, you can't fault the Islanders for doing this. Right. This isn't like the other two. And I know, like, people are going to talk about the other times they picked first overall. And listen, I don't like John Tavares any more than anybody else does. But like, and we joke about him being the guy taken before Victor Hedman and stuff. John Tavares was a fantastic player for this team for 9 seasons. Like, I don't regret taking the player. It just sucks that he decided to leave because the team was awful. Like, but
it was, the day they took him was one of the best days of my Islander life.
And he represented the team fantastically for 9 seasons, which is why I'm still pissed off that he left, because he was supposed to be the guy. The DiPietro one is the regrettable one, because they had a great goalie prospect, and the general manager at the time wanted a cocky American kid to match his own cocky American stupidity, and blew it. And Rick, God love him, he loved being an Islander, became an Islander, a Long Islander in a way, but just, everything that could have gone wrong with him did. This is a situation that never comes around. Literally never. I mean, it's a lot like the Celebrini thing last year. Like, Celebrini played for the junior Sharks or whatever it was. His dad is like the sports trainer or whatever for the Golden State Warriors. Like, he is a guy, he's a Bay Area kid, and the Sharks had a chance to take him. Now, of course, he was the consensus, first overall pick. In the Islanders' case, Hagens has basically fallen to about third. You mentioned Matthew Schaefer before. He's a defenseman with Erie, which of course was Connor McDavid's team, so everybody loves him, sure. The thing about Schaefer is some scouts, he's the number 1 projected player via Central Scouting. One scout said he's ahead of where Cale Makar was at this age. Well, I'm not saying he's Makar, but he's ahead of where Makar was. Okay, so why even bring Makar up? Just don't. Just say he's really good, blah, blah, blah. But the problem with Schaefer, at least as far people say, is that he's really young. He doesn't turn 18 until like literally the day of the draft or something like that. And he was hurt. He hurt his clavicle early in the season. He only played like 17 games, but apparently in those 17 games, he was so good that he jumped everybody else in the draft while not even playing. So I don't even know how that works. It seems like some prospect grifter bullshit, but whatever. What do I know? I have never seen this kid play. I couldn't pick him out of a police lineup. The other guy is Michael Misa. Michael Misa, I forget where he's playing for now, but I'll find out. He's with Saginaw, a team the Islanders have picked from before. He's 6'1", and he had an absolutely absurd season this year. 134 points in, I think, 60-something games. Like that's great. 62 goals, 72 assists. This guy has been touted as really the first overall pick for a while now. And, he's probably going to be a really, really good player. Hagens, of course, plays for BU, right? Yeah. My buddy Nick is going to get BC. So I'm sorry. I apologize to my friend Nick. He always gets mad when I make these mistakes. He plays for BC. He plays with Cole Eiserman, right? They're buds. They talk about this kind of stuff all the time. He's only 5'10". He's gotten comparisons, honestly, to Jack Hughes, which would be great if Jack Hughes wasn't hurt all the time. I'm just kidding. Jack Hughes is a really good player. But the thing is, and the thing that we cannot overlook is the Long Island factor. Like, this just doesn't happen. And the funny thing to me is I was thinking about, okay, let's pretend the Islanders take Schaefer or Misa or some other guy who comes out of nowhere, right? The weirdest thing about this is that you pick a guy and you know that another guy and his family are going to be really, really upset. That is not a situation I've ever had when it comes to an NHL draft. No. Like, this guy has worn his Islanders fandom on his sleeve since he became draft eligible, and it can't be ignored. And I know the media guys will ignore it. All the prospect grifters will ignore it. And all the guys at TSN, the Sam Cosentinos of the world are going to be saying to take blah, 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 whatever. But honestly, these people have never set foot on Long Island, will never set foot on Long Island, do not give one rat's ass about this team's history, the way this fan base is, the small community aspect of this fan base, where you see somebody, if you meet somebody who's an Islanders fan, you're bonded for life now all of a sudden, which happens to us all the time. And that's what the thing about this show is. We are fans, and we've touched all these other fans from all over the place because it's so hard to find other Islanders fans. They find us, basically. That cannot be discounted. So if they were to take Hagens, regardless of whatever he is on Central Scouting's list, I'm going to be happy about it. And, I don't know what they're going to do. Again, they don't have a general manager. I keep reminding people of that. But I think I'm with you. I would just take this guy and just walk away and be like, hey, and you know what? Again, if he sucks, well, at least they took the dude from Long Island. Basically.
And this isn't just Kyle Palmieri, right? He's born on Long Island, grew up in Jersey, right? So it's kind of he's a Long Island guy, but he's also a Jersey guy and whatever. He's also Kyle Palmieri, great NHL player, but James Hagens is the Gordon Fisherman logo is kind of that's what he is. He is an Islander. He's a fisherman. He's just a kid from Suffolk County. And as you said, these people just won't understand that he's not just from here. He is a very good representation of a place, Long Island, and the team is named after people like James Hagens. James Hagens is an Islander. He could play for the Islanders, right? It should be that simple. And it would be so exciting. And the team's in such a spot right now where the team needs personality, doesn't it, Elliot? You want to just inject some identity into this team. You throw a guy whose name is literally on the team's nickname. You do it. And I couldn't be more excited, but I'm a little scared. And then and the funniest part about it is they take the guy who's comped to Cale Makar and he becomes Cale Makar. Awesome. That's great. But so it's, as I was saying, it's not a slight against any of these other players or the logic behind taking someone who's comped to Cale Makar. It's just that this is stuff in the stars, and this is sports, right? Sports are supposed to be fun. It's not about, oh man, but this guy has a 2% Hall of Fame, 2% more chance of becoming an NHL Hall of Famer than this guy. That's what stuff you're going to hear. Good. You want to know a good example of this? When the Devils, was it 2022? When the Devils took Simone Nemec as the second pick, like people were praising that pick. Oh wow, that's like a really good forward-thinking pick. People comped him too, and I have it right in front of me. Victor Hedman was his top comp.
Of course,
right?
Yeah.
So just because someone is comped to Cale Makar doesn't mean that they're not gonna, end up being closer to Joe Finley, right? Like it's just how this works,
right?
So who cares what if Sam Constantino says that this guy could be Cale Makar or Quinn Hughes? That doesn't mean he's going to be.
Yeah.
But what Sam Constantino can say that is 100% factual is James Hagens is from Long Island, right? Yeah. That's like the only guarantee here. There's not all three of these guys could be busts. Right. I mean that 2022 draft and is kind of notorious for being pretty soft at the top, right? Like Slafkovsky's been better for Montreal, but he's not, I don't think, going to turn into like a superstar. Then Nemec, the Devils were thinking about trading him already. Logan Cooley's been good for the Coyotes. Shane Wright took forever. Kind of looks like he's going to be a good, Brock Nelson type maybe.
But it took him a long time to get there.
Yes.
They were talking about him being a bust too,
right,
for a while now.
And then the number 5 overall pick, he asked for a trade from the Philadelphia Flyers, Cutter Gauthier.
Right.
The number 6 overall pick, David Jiricek, he asked for a trade from the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
I mean, Rucker McGroarty asked for a trade. He was picked 14. My point being that these guys are, there's no such thing as a sure thing. Like,
right.
There's some things that are close to like 99%. This one doesn't sound like that even. Like this sounds more like the Slafkovsky kind of thing, where it's like, he's really high ceiling. Whereas the one sure thing is that this guy worked goddamn charter boats in Freeport on the Nautical Mile. Like it's just Long Island, man. He's driving home on the Ocean Parkway at 1 a.m. home from work. Like, come on, in the summer, nothing like driving on the Ocean Parkway really late at night after an honest day's work on a goddamn charter boat in Freeport, man. Like, He probably thought about, man, it'd be pretty cool if I got drafted by the Islanders on the Ocean Parkway in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
That's Long Island.
Yeah. And again, I got to remind everybody that the only knock on James Hagens is that he's 5'10". That's it. That's the only thing. Everybody's like, oh, no, he's really good.
But if you're a Long Island 5'10", it's really, they're not going to grade that out. It's really 6'2".
Right. Misa's 6'1" and Schaefer is 6'2". So, again, but see, now the opposite end of the spectrum is I start getting worried that they don't take Hagens.
Right.
But we'll have to wait and see for when is the actual draft? I don't even know.
It's a long time from now. It's June 27th.
Yeah, it's hold on, I have
June 27 in Los Angeles at the Peacock Theater. Yeah, it's a long way away. Like there's a whole NHL playoffs that needs to wrap up between now and then, and I'm gonna be just thinking about this and trying, like you said, trying not to get my hopes up to the point where I get myself into a place where I'll be upset that they don't take him, right? Like I'll be sad. I don't want to be mad. I'm okay with being sad, but I don't want to be mad, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to have like going into the next season holding it against Matthew Schaefer or Michael Misa that they're not from Long Island.
Yeah. So we should talk about some of the other ways that, I should say the rest of the first round here, because there was another team that moved up in this lottery as well. So the Islanders are picking first overall. Second are the San Jose Sharks, who had the worst record in the league and had the first overall pick until about 7:20 this evening. They're going second. Chicago Blackhawks are going third. Utah Hockey Club, who doesn't even have a name, moved up to fourth. They won the sort of second round of the a lottery ball thing. They were, I want to say, I think the Islanders were 10th. They might have been like 9th or 12th, something like that. So big jump for them as well. Fifth is Nashville. Sixth are the Philadelphia Flyers. Seventh are the Boston Bruins. 8 are the Seattle Kraken. 9 are the Buffalo Sabres, which is disastrous for them because I think we're picking fourth at one point. 10 are the Anaheim Ducks. 11 and 12 are the Penguins and Rangers, respectively. My favorite part of this entire thing was watching the faces of Chris Drury and Kyle Dubas.
Yes.
react to the fact that they had lost and Ken Morrow had won. That was worth 10 times the price of admission already. 13th is Detroit, 14th is Columbus, 15th is Vancouver, and 16th is Montreal. Would have been Calgary, but it's actually Montreal because of, I guess, a trade that was made. I forget what it was. So, yeah, I mean, the top three, Islanders, Sharks, and Chicago, basically have a shot at the three top-rated guys, Hagens, Schaefer, Misa. There's a bunch of other, good players in there. This is not considered, from what I understand, like a super packed to the gills draft. There's a lot of good players here, but no like sort of generational players. That's next season's draft. Again, this is all prospect grifter, draft pervert stuff. I don't know any of this kind of thing. We've heard this story before. Sometimes it turns out to be like the 2003 draft where everybody was a superstar except for the guy the Islanders took. And then other times there's like, a draft where it's like, oh, these guys aren't that good. And then they end up being superstars. I'm sick of these guys getting compared to Hall of Famers. Every defenseman is a Chris Pronger. Every power forward is Milan Lucic. Like, okay, we get it. And this is what keeps these guys paid. This is what keeps, every year Pierre Maguire opens the giant stone crypt that they keep him in, and he comes up and he jumps up and he's like, "Oh, Zach Parise, North Dakota, Doc." He's like yelling, screaming. So, we don't know. We don't know anything about these guys, but no, you're right. I mean, there's only one dude on this list who's from Long Island, who's an Islanders fan, like only one, and he can go first overall to Long Island's hockey team. Now, if he doesn't, and he ends up playing for the Chicago Blackhawks or the Utah Hockey Club, God forbid, or Nashville Predators, that would kind of suck because, again, it would be an opportunity missed. But, Schaefer sounds like a really good player. They need help on left side D, which is what he plays. He's an offensive defenseman, which is good. He's obviously pretty big, but he's young and he just got hurt and he missed the entire season, which is not really great. Misa seems to be the whole package. That's fantastic. If you're missing on anybody, it might be him. But as we've been saying now for a half hour, I'd rather just go with Hagens and just go with the line. Now, I'm sure there are people listening to this, like pulling their hair out, like, no, you can't do that. That's stupid. He's not worth the first overall pick. I don't care. I don't care. You don't care. Take this guy. There's one guy on this list that's going to absolutely give his all to the New York Islanders. And I know these guys always, when they get drafted, they pledge themselves to these teams, and all of a sudden their moms are like wearing the jerseys and stuff. And that's all great. But there's one guy who grew up giving his all to this team, and he doesn't have to be indoctrinated into Islanders fandom and to what Long Island. He doesn't have to be shown, oh, these are all the great things you can do on Long Island. He already knows. He knows where the golf courses are. He knows how to take the train to New York City. He knows how to get to, a show at Barclays Center or Nassau Coliseum or whatever, like he knows how to do these things, how to get to the Hamptons and see all the cool houses out there. He already knows.
Yeah.
Nobody else can say that.
Yeah.
He knows. And so we talked a couple of episodes ago about the Islanders' need to get some real juice, not just get better, obviously, that goes without saying, but like find some real excitement. Get the fan base juiced up for this, because honestly, UBS Arena has been like a library this season. Like it's just the most exciting crowd they had at UBS Arena was when Alex Ovechkin friggin' scored the goal that made him the number one goal scorer in the league, which is great, but like that's not the way it's supposed to work, right? This team is supposed to be exciting. People want to come out, and I think James Hagens is going to make people excited to watch his team again. So I don't know. That's my non-expert opinion. Is I guess you and I are in agreement that it should be James Hagens.
Yeah,
that's like the number one pick.
Absolutely. I'm just and hell, it could be, we could be so wrong. Who cares? I don't care if I'm wrong. Like it's, and everyone will say, oh man, you only get, the people on the outside will be like, you only get one chance at this. You just got to take the best player. We don't know who the best player is. Yeah. We don't. There's, you could say take the best prospect, sure, but we don't know who the best player is going to be. We're not, if we were drafting 10 years ago or 10 years from now, we could say, yeah, the Islanders have to take Matthew Schaefer here. He had a better career than James Hagens, but we don't know that. And these people swing and miss all the time. I just brought up Simone Nemitz. Like, universally praised that pick was. Right. What a good job by the Devils doing exactly what you should have done in that spot. And then think about all the people that like they passed on what's his face, that the two Russians, right? Matvei Michkov and Ivan Demidov now for the Canadians. And Demidov, who he's talking about it like we don't know who's going to be the best, but if he's going to have a good career. He's played a couple games, but he looks great. And it's easy to say it's easy to say like 5 years from now, man, the Islanders messed up by taking James Hagens. But right now it's not a mistake, right? Like it's impossible to say any of these three guys is a mistake in terms of talent, but there is one where it could be a mistake because it was smacking you in the face. Like the entire point of sports is hitting you right in the freaking nose right now. Yeah. You want to root for your guys. Like sports were born out of fucking factories, like letting their workers out, and you rooted for your factory to beat the factory from the town over in soccer or something, right? Like you're supposed to have your guys on your team, and obviously it developed into something more than that and much more complex. But he's one of our guys. He is one of us. Like this guy, man, he knows what the big duck is. It's just smacking you in the face. And whatever, if we're wrong, we're wrong. I don't even care if like we're wrong about everything all the time. Like 2 weeks ago, I was like, yeah, Lou will be back.
Right.
They're not going to say shit. Like whatever. We're not here to make predictions. We're just here to be like, this is awesome or this sucks. Yeah. And here's why, and here's how it's going to affect my life. And right now, man, I just implore you to not take anything that anybody says out there is gospel about any of these guys. They're teenagers. They're teenagers who play hockey, and one of them is probably going to be a bust, and one of them is going to be great, and one of them is going to be a good NHL player. Like that's probably the probability in these top three picks. But as we keep saying, one is just from Long Island, so just take that one. Just take that one, please. And man, it would just be like a home opener with a bunch of folks from Hop Hog in the crowd.
The whole crew with Captain Lou is going to be there.
How about, what else is great? He probably has so many friends who are Ranger fans who are like, fuck.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. Dude, the Rangers have more guys they could have drafted that would have made a big stink about playing for them. They had a guy loophole his way off of 2 teams to go play for the Rangers because he was such a huge Rangers fan. The Islanders are never going to get this opportunity again. We could go all night.
It didn't take long for exactly what we predicted to happen, right? People from the outside. Here's prospect grifter Rachel Dory's tweet. I understand James Hagens is from Long Island and grew up an Islanders fan. However, you take Schaefer or Misa and you do not look back. You cannot afford to pass on that kind of talent for a story. Hagens will be great, but the Isles must take the best player. No, they don't.
Yeah.
Take the guy from Long Island. Take the story. Sports. Fun.
Right. With all due respect, Rachel, go fuck yourself. Like, honestly. Well, no offense, nothing personal. Seriously, I get what she's saying. I totally understand. But at the same time, go fuck yourself. Yeah. Like, we'll take James Hagens. And if it ends up, like you said, if it ends up being bad, they took the dude from the island. Like, I don't understand why. Right. They're never going to have this chance again. Never. Ever.
Yes, ever. So, first, and they had the pick of the litter. This isn't even like oh God, we moved up to third. I hope he falls to us, and then we can pick him. No, they can pick whoever they want. And the guy that they should want is this guy. And I know people are talking about, the thing to do here is to move back, trade with Chicago. Yeah. Let Chicago take Misa or Schaefer, then the next team will take Misa or Schaefer, and then the Islanders take Hagens. Fucking fine. If that's how it happens, whatever. I don't care if they trade. I don't care if they get kicked out of the draft for tampering and they find out the draft lottery is fixed and we could keep Hagens. That's it. I don't care. Yeah. I don't just whatever it takes to get the goddamn prospect who worked on the Captain Lou in Freeport on the Nautical Mile to play for the Islanders. That's what the Islanders are. Their logo was literally this guy at one point.
Well, I thought about that too. And at first I was like, yeah, but the Blackhawks don't really have any guys that are worth trading for. And then I was like, you know what? Why overthink it? You guys, you trade us your first next year and you get the first this year and the third, obviously. You trade us the third overall pick and your first next year. You get the first pick. You get to take Schaefer. We get Hagens and everybody wins. You know? So, they take Misa. The Sharks get Schaefer. The Islanders get, Hagens and all.
And someone was like, oh, well, like they could pull a fast one. I'd be like, just make sure they don't. Like, you can have those conversations. I don't care. Rehire Lou. Lou, have Lou make the calls, and then Lou can, leave again later. Like, just However it happens, I don't care. Like, I really just don't care. We got to this point through an absolutely carnival of misery and bad luck, and they have a chance to make us just crack up about it. Be like, oh my God, man. It's so funny that goaltender interference on Kyle Palmieri that cost us the season, or Matt Coronado scoring 2 goals for the Flames in that game where we blew it, right? Like there's all this shit that happened to get us here for the opportunity to draft the guy who worked in the summer on a freaking charter boat in Freeport on the Nautical Mile. Like there's only one Billy Joel song in this draft pool, man. Just draft the Billy Joel song.
And that goes without saying too, about like all the guys they could have drafted in later rounds and didn't. Coronado, probably being one of them, but they give up those picks to get, Palmieri, Pajot, Romanov, these other guys. I was just going to say too, like we can go all night looking at drafts and like pulling out guys that, again, were projected to be whatever and didn't turn out that way. I'm looking at the 2021 draft, the year before the one you were talking about. And like, of all the people on this list, the number one guy I would take was the one who got taken 23rd overall, and that was Wyatt Johnston, the guy who literally just won a series for the Dallas Stars by scoring against the Avalanche, with a few minutes left or whatever. He's got more points than anybody else on this list. So you just never know. And again, this is an opportunity that's never going to come around again, ever. It's incredible that it came around one time, let alone
he doesn't ever have to leave home.
Yeah.
He could just live with his parents as a millionaire for the rest of his life. Be like, I just never moved out. I've played for the Islanders and just lived in my parents' house.
Yeah,
amazing.
It's crazy, and now it could happen, and I really hope it does.
I never, and they're like, we kind of tongue in cheek would talk about it from here. I never once got myself to like get my hopes up. I remember, I think it was Art Stable wrote an article on Cole Eiserman, and like the article was talked about. In the article, he talked about how Cole Eiserman would be like, you're gonna end up an Islander, and I remember reading that and just be like, I don't even want to think about it, man. It's just because this stuff just doesn't happen to the Islanders, and now the Islanders can make sure that this stuff does happen to the Islanders at least once, right? Right. So just do that and then change the goal song.
Yeah. Please change. I mean, ask James Hagens what he wants. As a goal song.
What's his favorite Long Island? What's his favorite Billy Joel song? Just toss that on there. I don't care.
That would be good. Art already has an article up. I'll link it here, but just talking about how it went. So this is going to be pretty exciting. We'll have to see how it goes. You're going to read a lot of shit lately about how the Islanders should take this guy or that guy or, whoever, and do this, do that. Again, these people have never, ever, ever set foot on the glacier that is now Long Island. So they don't know jack shit about this team. They can look at all the charts they want and all the graphs and whatever. They don't know what it's like to be us. And they never will. And they don't care because they've got, Leafs games to watch or whatever, or Hurricanes games to track and shit like that. So I think the choice is clear, but we'll have to wait and see. Okay, let's take a break from the Hagens / lottery talk, and we'll come back and we'll talk about some of the other weirdness that happened today that involved the governor of New York State and the All-Star game and UBS Arena and a team that plays 3,300 miles away from the Islanders that might impact their general manager search. We'll see, but we got a bunch of other stuff to talk about on the side, so meet us over there. Thank you. And now a word from our sponsors. First is always VintageIceHockey.com, where you can get t-shirts, hoodies, jerseys, and more featuring over 100 classic hockey logos. Vintage Ice Hockey now carries a full line of Islanders Anxiety merch featuring our blue and orange brain logo, as well as our Al Arbor and the Island shirts. And as always, our portion of the sales go directly to the Center for Dementia Research. That is VintageIceHockey.com. Try wines from the Pinot Project. They offer a Rosé, a Pinot Grigio, and a Pinot Noir that was named a Top 100 Best Buy by Wine Enthusiast magazine. All are delicious, priced at less than $15 a bottle, and available at local wine shops and at UBS Arena. Learn more at thepinotproject.com. Please drink responsibly.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
Acura's all-new ADX, a compact SUV that isn't just built for one thing, it's precision crafted for everything. To escape the grind with available all-wheel drive. To go with your flow with available Google built-in.
Hey Google, turn it up.
Okay, turning up the volume. And crafted to be heard with an available Bang & Olufsen premium sound system. The all-new Acura ADX, crafted to match your energy. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Take your vibes and go, 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 go.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC.
This podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV insurance at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Pet injuries and additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
Your snacking routine can get a little dull. Time for a light and fit remix. Like a crunchy storm of graham cookies, caramel pearls, and dark chocolate, showering down into a smooth, creamy yogurt. Enjoy 3 light and fit remix varieties with craveable flavors and up to 120 calories and 10 grams of protein per 4.5-ounce serving. See remixyogurt.com.
Hi, I'm Cyndi Lauper. My scalp was covered with psoriasis, which could lead to psoriatic arthritis. But Cosentyx treats both.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis 300 milligram dose and adults with active psoriatic arthritis 150 milligram dose. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some were fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at Cosentyx.com or 1-844-COSENTYX.
Cosentyx works for me.
Ask your doctor about Cosentyx.
Before we talk about the other weirdness that happened today, we have some more schedule stuff coming up. But it's us, again, for the second week in a row. Okay, number one, we are going to begin our sort of summer schedule thing that we've been doing for the last couple of years. So we're going to start alternating episodes of Islanders Anxiety and episodes of Weird Islanders, the podcast. So this week is Islanders Anxiety. Next week would be Weird Islanders, the podcast. The week after would be Islanders Anxiety, Weird Islanders, so on and so forth until free agency day, which is, July 1st. We'll get together someday after that, probably the 2nd or 3rd, and that'll be our season finale. Now, obviously, the Islanders have a lot of things going on. They need a general manager. They're going to be, drafting first overall. We don't know what's happening. So I can promise you that there will be some episodes thrown in here and there. However, that being said, right now, we're just scheduled to kind of alternate these episodes as we've been doing lately. So this really shouldn't be a surprise to you. That's number one. Number two is that the season finale of Weird Islanders, the podcast this year, will once again feature a Weirdest Islander of the Year. And in order to select the Weirdest Islander of the Year for the 24-25 season, we need your help. So the poll for the Weirdest Islander of the Year is going live at our Patreon page tomorrow, Wednesday, May 7th. Okay. This is a public post. So whether you're a patron, whether you're a paid patron or a free member, it doesn't matter. You can go to patreon.com/IslandersAnxiety and vote for who you think should be the Weirdest Islander of the Year. The criteria is very simple. Who is the guy that makes you think, I can't believe this guy was an Islander this year? We have a bunch of candidates. I removed anybody that has like contract for, next season. So like Isaiah George isn't on the list, even though he, was under the games played threshold. He's not a Weird Islander. Go to patreon.com/IslandersAnxiety on Wednesday and vote for who you think should be the Weirdest Islander of the Year. And then our season finale of the show will be us discussing who it is. Of course, you'll all remember our inaugural winner Robert Bortuzzo, a worthy weirdest Islander of the year if there ever was one. And we had a great time talking about him. We'll have another great episode coming up. The poll will be open through Sunday. So it's going to be open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all day Sunday. Please don't vote at your Mother's Day party. Vote before you go to your Mother's Day party. But then the polls will close on midnight, Monday the 12th. So you have, a good 5 days to research and then pick who you think is the weirdest Islander of the year. So again, patreon.com/islandersanxiety. Vote. It'll be the first article up there. Vote for who you think should be the weirdest Islander of the year. And then we'll celebrate that person in the season finale of this season coming up, I guess, late June. I think the week before the draft or the weekend of the draft. I'm not even sure, but you'll know when that happens. Finally, third of all, Ken Morrow just helped the Islanders win the lottery. Make sure you listen to the Weird Islanders, the podcast episode we put out last week with Alan Creda. It was fantastic. We talked a lot about Ken Morrow, but we also talked about guys like Alex McKendry and Hector Marini, two weird Islanders that Ken Morrow played with in the Dynasty era, which is the weirdest species of weird Islander we could possibly find. There weren't a lot of weird Islanders back then. We found two. We talked about them, and it was a great episode. It's one of my favorite episodes we've ever done, so check that out. Okay, moving on. As I said, there was some other weirdness happening around the Islanders today because there always is. So let's go back to the All-Star game. As we know, the Islanders were awarded the All-Star game for 2026 at UBS Arena. And then a funny thing happened called the Four Nations Face-Off, which everybody loved. And it was terrific. And all of a sudden, the idea of this sort of half-speed, glad-handing, no hitting, no defense All-Star game really seemed very unappealing, as it had been getting there for a number of years. The Four Nations Face-Off was basically the final nail in the coffin for this type of All-Star game, which made the Islanders All-Star situation kind of weird. And then also making it weird is that the Olympics happen the week after. So why would anybody come to the UBS Arena, play an All-Star game, and then head out to the Olympics? So we started hearing rumors that maybe something would change. We don't know. So it seems, and this isn't official yet, but it seems as if the NHL has decided to do an Olympic kickoff celebration at UBS Arena at what would be All-Star weekend, basically. We don't know what that entails. We don't know if there will be some sort of game or just some sort of ceremonies or, whatever, skills competition or something. We have absolutely no idea. But what it won't be sounds like a regular All-Star game or any kind of thing like that. And it's an unfortunate situation that's really nobody's fault. Like, I don't know, you can't really be mad at anybody. I mean, it's not the Islanders' fault they got this All-Star game, and it's not their fault that the Four Nations were so great, and it's not their fault that the Olympics are happening. It's just kind of a weird timing thing. Well, New York Governor Kathy Hochul sent an open letter to Gary Bettman today, I guess via their social media or whatever, saying how disappointed she was that there's not going to be a proper All-Star game at UBS Arena. The Islanders have spent all this money. They built a Long Island Railroad station just to get people to UBS Arena. They've been a great partner for the NHL, historic, blah, 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 blah. And it's really disappointing that this isn't happening. And, I mean, again, I get where she's coming from, but I don't know. What can you do? Like, there's nothing you can really do about this. Like, it's weird timing. It didn't matter where it was going to be. Somebody, whoever got it, if it was Columbus or Dallas or Utah, like, it was going to be somebody was going to have to figure out what to do about an All-Star game that really nobody wants to watch. Between the Olympics, the Four Nations, nobody wants to watch this. So it just so happened it was the Islanders, and it's really unfortunate, but what can you do? So I don't know how much that letter affected anything that happened today, but it is very funny that the governor of New York complains about the lack of an All-Star game coming to the Islanders Arena, and then literally hours later, they win the NHL Draft Lottery as if to make up for losing the All-Star game, which again might be possible, but that's one of the 90 weird things that happened this season. So it's possible, but I mean, it's very rare that did the Islanders lead the NHL in the governor getting involved somehow in their arena's business? Because I feel like I don't know of any other governors that like chime in whenever there's an arena issue. They had Cuomo getting in. Obviously, we've had a lot of weirdo politicians get involved in Islanders arena stuff, but this is kind of low on that weirdness scale. But it is sort of like the timing is like, really? All right. Well, I guess she's got to say something. So she's going to say something. But what'd you make of Governor Hochul's letter to Gary Bettman here, and her dissatisfaction that the All-Star game is not going to be like an actual All-Star game next year?
Yeah, I mean, it's just you become so kind of numb to these weird shit happens to every sports team, but most of that is confined to like the field of play.
Right.
for some reason with the Islanders, that weirdness, and this is probably because of how they were born, right? They were born out of spite and in a race to like block the WHA from getting a team at Nassau Coliseum and stuff. Like something opened up something somewhere in the ether that cursed this team in or I don't even know if it's a curse. They just sprinkled us with weird shit dust. And so yeah, this was like, it almost like didn't move me. I was like, oh yeah, I was in a weird way. I felt like, oh yeah, of course the governor of New York would write a letter like that, because that's what happens with the Islanders. And I just found it funny that this, like you said, it happened this day, and then there was rumors, not rumors, but people from other franchises were like, can't believe they fixed it for the Islanders because they took away the All-Star game. I hope they did. I imagine, we got to give this one to the Islanders, right? That would be great. And but yeah, it was just like it was a weird day. I want to see the text from John Ledecky to Kathy Hochul. Hey Gov, you're busy, but can you just have one of your staffers write up a note that kind of covers these points? We have this mall that Scott Malkin just built, and he needs some people to he needs an All-Star game to fill these stores, and this is state used land too. So you're going to be losing money too, and the state, and it's going to look bad for you. I would love to see the political jockeying that went on just to get this letter, because there would be a meeting. Of course, there'd be a meeting about it. Like, you don't just text the governor of New York or her staff and say, hey, we need this letter, and them say, yeah, sure, no problem, we'll get it out in 10 minutes. They say, all right, cool, like, we got to ruminate over this, and then they sit in a conference room for hours and days, and we'll circle back by the end of the day, and we need to push this. Governor's got busy. We'll figure it out on Monday. And then Monday came, they had the meeting, and they probably sweat over every word, even though not a soul off of Long Island is going to read it and put it out there, and it's probably going to have no impact. But so that's how those are your tax dollars going to work,
right? Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen. But what's funny about it is what you said, right? Like this is just like a horrible kind of confluence of events.
Yeah,
mark it down as another weird thing, right? That happened this season. That the Islanders, their first All-Star game since 1983, something like that.
Yeah.
Their first All-Star game since 1983 ends up being the first one that would be canceled that's not taking place during a lockout or a pandemic, right? So that's just incredible stuff, and it's just very Islanders that it happened. But it just added more flavor to the day, right? Like this whole the draft lottery was an awesome main course. That those crazy dinners that people go to, like the fine dining, where it's like 24 courses, right? And you don't know what's coming next, and they're like, okay, here's a walnut, but when you actually bite into it, it's filet mignon, and that's what today kind of felt like. That's what the season's kind of been like too. But it kind of felt like that. You just didn't know what meal was coming out next, and at the end, it just you got wowed, and compliments to the chef. And one of the best, what one of the best side courses was, one of the best side dishes, as you said, seeing Kyle Dubas up there. Of course, the broadcast had to point out that he was up at 1 a.m. in Budapest, Hungary,
right?
For this draft, for this draft lottery. That's our boy Dubas over there. And then they pointed out a couple other people. And one thing also that kind of crossed my mind, and this kind of ties into the Weird Islanders episode we did with Kenny Morrow and with Alan Creed, was that so many people know that Chris Drury won the Little League World Series, and it gets brought up all the time.
Yeah,
and he's
mainly
sitting
by
next,
me.
right? Yeah, and he's sitting next to the guy who won the 4 Stanley Cups and was part of the Miracle on Ice team and won an NCAA championship, right? And that I would focus on that more than the Little League World Series story with Chris Drury.
They did mention it. I think Kevin Weeks mentioned it after it was over.
Yeah, well, he's jockeying for the job.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Might be his boss soon, yeah.
I know. Sorry, Kevin. But just a wild day that it was, we sat down, and every course that kind of was served up today was funny. And the NHL's response was like, oh, it's going to be a spectacular event. They're they don't have any idea what they're going to do, right? Like this isn't something that's like fleshed out yet at all, and they're just going to say, oh, it's going to be great, we have great ideas, and they're like, shit, we got till February, we'll figure it out, and if it doesn't work, who cares? It's not like anyone's going to care about UBS Arena and the Islander fans being pissed. Like the Olympics are 3 days later, everyone will forget about it by then. So I don't think there's too much skin off their back. I know there's a lot of people clamoring like, oh, the Islanders deserve the Four Nations the next year, like UBS Arena should host. Sure, that makes a lot of sense, but it's not going to happen. Like the Islanders they're not going to, I would be shocked if it did. They're not going to like give the Islanders a break because they got shafted here. I think it's just a very Islander bounce.
Yeah, for sure. And again, the event itself hasn't really been canceled. The governor keeps talking about it's being canceled. There's just a different kind of event. So, it won't be an all-star game. There'll be something, but it's really an Olympic kickoff event. And I mean, if they want to give the Islanders an all-star game, their best course of action would probably be just cancel the whole thing, have the kickoff event in, Boston or something, or Madison Square Garden or whatever, and then give the Islanders a proper all-star game after that. But even still, the key issue isn't even really the Olympics or UBS Arena or the Islanders. It's that the Four Nations face-off has rendered the traditional all-star game completely worthless now. Like it's just, there's no going back to what that was. And I am a person that enjoys the all-star game. Like I'm not one of these people that's complaining, well, they don't play defense. I don't give a shit about, I see defense. You go see defense 1,300 times a year, right? I don't need to see that. I want to see the stars come out. I want to see, Ray Bourque and Dominic Hasek on the same team. Like I remember that from when I was a kid. So I actually enjoy all-star games and take them for what they're worth. But those are dead. Like the Four Nations, to its complete credit, killed it. So even if there were no Olympics this year, people would still be like, well, what are they going to do? They can't just have Eastern Conference versus Western Conference. Nobody wants that anymore. So, I think this still might be cool. My choice was to have the Olympians come out, wave to everybody. You can have them do the skills competition and stuff. So everybody takes it nice and easy. You can forget the goalies. You don't need to even include them. It's fine. Just have the
You don't want Marc-Andre Fleury there for another farewell?
No, I don't. Oh my God, dude, real quick. So the other, one of the other big international competitions, obviously the World Championships, and guys who aren't in the playoffs are now, or bounced from the playoffs are now going. Marc-Andre Fleury is going to his first World Championships. And you could hear Michael Russo of The Athletic packing his bags to follow Fleury to the World Championship, which are happening, I guess, in Denmark or something. I don't even know. But he was making it sound like this guy was like, going off to war or something. I don't even know. Or like, running for prime minister. Like, dude, he's going to sit on the bench for a couple of weeks of the World Championships. Anyway, something would have to have been done no matter what. And so I don't know what's going to what I was saying was, I would like to have the All-Stars come out, do an All-Star skills competition, and then you could have a Young Stars tournament with younger guys that aren't going to play at the Olympics. That's probably the easiest thing for them to do. So you get the All-Star game experience, you still see the All-Stars there, and it's a fun time, and we can celebrate the Olympics and everything. Or, I don't know, maybe do something with the 1980 Olympic team. Turns out one of those players ends up, works for the Islanders, as we've been talking about this whole time. So there are ways that this can still be a fun time for everybody without a traditional all-star game. So I get where the governor's coming from, but I feel like she's kind of jumping the gun a little bit. Obviously for her, she wants a shitload of people in New York spending money, and putting those tax dollars back in the coffers there. But it's a confluence of events. Listen, if the Islanders were in any way, shape, or form at fault for this, we would tell you. Right. We are not shy about that. But
they're at fault for being the Islanders, right? Because this stuff happens to the Islanders, and it's really it. Like so, that's,
right?
Yeah,
right.
There's you just can laugh at. Like it's just a laugh. It's a thing to like just keep. It'll be fun to talk about a couple of years from now. I remember the time that the Islanders had the All-Star game taken away from this.
Right. Exactly. So, or just cancel the whole thing. Have you could have the Team Canada guys fly out of Toronto, the Team USA guys fly out of Boston, the other guys fly out of different places. Like you could do that too. Like there's a little bit of creativity would go a long way in this case, but obviously the NHL isn't really, known for that sort of thing, but I think it can be done. So we'll see. But it is funny again that a governor decides to kind of poke their business in the Islanders. Remember when the governor of Connecticut was trying to like woo the Islanders to go play there when the whole Barclays thing was going on? Yep. So again, I think maybe the governor of New Jersey might have said something at one point. It wasn't Murphy. It might have been the previous. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But yeah, it was always kind of funny. So the governors love the Islanders for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, governors and secretaries of state.
Yeah, exactly. So,
those are the.
Anyway, we'll see how this goes. But again, like you said, it's funny for a day. Ethan Sears, I'm reading his tweet here. Matt, Andrew Gross is gonna write a thing about it. It's very funny. Art Staple has a link to it in his story at The Athletic. It's very funny for like a day, and then we just kind of forget about it. I'm sure Kathy Hochul has bigger things to deal with as well. Okay,
I would love to know if Kathy Hochul can tell me who scored more goals between Ilya Sorokin and Hudson Fasching this season.
You know who can tell you that? James Hagens can.
Yes, yeah. He was. You know what? There's a chance, and I just hit me, and I'm saying it, and I actually believe it. Like, we're one of many Islander podcasts. There's a chance that James Hagens is, he's listened to Islanders podcasts, right? Like
it's entirely possible. He's a young man who's an Islanders fan,
right? He might have listened to that Randy Robitaille Weird Islanders episode and been like, "God, I fucking love Randy Robitaille." Like that's what I don't know who his favorite player is. I'm sure it's like someone good like Barzal or whatever. But man, imagine just one day they're just like, oh, like who do you model your game after? Just like, oh, Richard Park. Like,
well, here's the thing. Now that Lou Lamoriello is not in charge anymore, the Islanders are going to be more open for marketing and podcast experiences and things like that. And I don't know, man. Maybe if we're good, maybe they'll grace us with a Weird Islanders, the podcast with special guest James Hagens, and he can tell us all about his favorite Weird Islander. That'd be a lot of fun. It'll probably be easier to get in touch with him than it has been with some of the people that we've had on the show.
Yeah,
absolutely ghosted me, but that's a story for another time. Okay, so final topic, I think, of the evening, well, something else pops up, is that once again, the Islanders don't have a general manager right now. We're doing all this talking, and they don't have a GM. They don't have a president of hockey operations. They have John Collins, kind of certain managing partner or whatever partner he is, searching for high and low for the right person to lead the team. Thank God Ken Morrow is there, right? Because somebody's got to be the adult in the room, right? And Ken Morrow, as we established last Friday on Weird Islanders podcast, is maybe the most normal person that's ever played for this team, which is kind of funny. But we have heard some names pop up, related to the job. One of them was Marc Bergevin, who we talked about a little bit last week, played for the Islanders for a few. He's a Weird Islander himself, actually. Played for a million teams, but one of them was the Islanders, and obviously was the Canadiens GM for quite a bit longer than I remember, about 10 years, which is pretty good. Had some good moments up there, some maybe not so good moments, as any general manager would. But he's currently working for the LA Kings, and that would be fine. And, it would make him a candidate for the Islanders job, and it still might. But the Kings made some news today by parting ways with their current general manager, Rob Blake. Now, before we go any further, you and I need to do something we have not done often on the show, and that is issue an apology. When we were first running through the potential candidates, Andrew Gross had an article up at Newsday. I don't think he listens to the show, but he included Blake as one possible candidate, and we were like, dude, Rob Blake has a job. What are you talking about? Well, Rob Blake doesn't have a job anymore, so maybe he was right. You never know.
Yep.
Does that mean Rob Blake is going to come to the Islanders? I doubt it. But Rob Blake is now currently a free agent. But more importantly, the reason I bring it up is because it might mean that if Marc Bergevin is looking for a GM job, the team that he currently is employed by needs a general manager. So that might affect things a little bit. Again, I don't know. Bergevin is one guy. Would I like to see him as a GM? Yeah, maybe more so than anybody else. I have absolutely no idea. But, if given a choice between moving across the country and just kind of moving upstairs into a different office and the one that you're, the building you're already in, I have a feeling Marc Bergevin would probably rather take option B there. But it was interesting. I didn't think this was going to happen. The Kings had a great season. They got undone by the Oilers once again in the playoffs for the fourth year in a row. That's the kind of thing that does generally cost the general manager his job. But this was, his contract was coming up. So this is a mutual parting of the ways. It should also be noted that Rob Blake and Patrick Waugh go way back to their Avalanche days, obviously. So, I don't think Blake wants to be a GM of the Islanders. I don't think they want Blake. I don't even know, but I'm just saying there's some connections there. But this news will and possibly in some way affect the Islanders, which is kind of funny considering, again, it's a team that's based 3,000 miles away. Do you think this will affect them at all? I mean, it's possible, I guess, but I mean, we won't know until the final choice is made. But did the Islanders GM search come up in your brain when you saw the Blake news from today?
Yeah, I did, and like just the whole like adding to the weird, right? It was a weird day. It was just a weird day of in Islander kind of tangential and related news, and um, I was talking to someone about the Islanders general manager stuff, um, and while this happened, and then we were like, yeah, who knows, maybe Bergevin. That sounds like it makes sense just because there's as we talked about last week, loose lips are certainly getting names out there to certain people, and certain people then are tweeting through those names, and it's Bergevin is definitely one that kept coming up. So, and then when that happened, we're like, oh well, never mind. It sounds, if Blake's out, it would make a lot of sense for him just to step upstairs in Los Angeles. But and then this happened tonight, and all of a sudden, yeah, it's just kind of changes some funny calculus here. It penny for Lou Lamoriello's thoughts, like, God damn you guys, like couldn't have happened. I couldn't have. They couldn't have waited like 2 more weeks before they kicked me and been like,
Right.
oh, maybe we want Lou in charge of this situation. But I mean, it felt like the whole day just felt like no matter where something was happening inside hockey, it had something to do. It felt like it had something to do with the Islanders, even if it didn't. And I mean, frankly, like I as we kind of said, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, however long this has now been going on for, I just kind of like the prospects, right? Like you don't know who's going to be the right guy right now.
Right.
However, I have a pretty good feeling of who I don't want. And that's Mark Bergevin is not on that list. Like if he ended up being the Islanders general manager, I don't really think I'd be moved one way or another. Same goes with someone like Jarmo Kekalainen. But it sounds like those guys were both on the short list. And if Bergevin does take this job with LA, then maybe that short list just becomes Jarmo. And I hear Kenny Holland is itching to get back.
No,
no, I know, but because it sounds like he's certainly on their mind too. From just what reading tea leaves. So yeah, I mean, something that happens in LA certainly impacts what was going on, but I do wonder if this changes a lot of it now. There's GMs, but the thing that scares me here is that as two blokes that really want to see the Islanders draft James Hagens, because it's just such a wonderful story. I do worry about bringing in a general manager being like, I can't reach for the guy supposed to go third when this is my first year as GM of the Islanders, right? Like that's like a wrench that makes me a little nervous here. Hopefully ownership, they seem pretty happy to get involved and chatter with right. Basically anyone right now. Hopefully they're saying to this GM, yeah, you can have the job, but you're taking Hagens. You're taking the Islander to play for the Islanders. So
right, yeah. Again, it was just kind of like there's a lot of variables out there, but when you see a story like that and you're like, wait, now another team is looking for a general manager, one that's much better than the Islanders, and one of their candidates already works for that team. This is getting a little bit weird here, but again, it was just a very weird day, and it might not mean anything. I mean, for all we know, Mark Bergevin isn't a candidate, or maybe he already is thinking about it. Maybe he wants to leave and come back east. Who the hell knows? I don't know, but it's definitely came up in my mind, and again, I can't imagine Rob Blake is dying to get the Islanders job or anything. But as Art Staple mentioned in his article, having this first overall pick changes the metrics for the GM position too. Because there's going to be a lot of guys that are like, first overall pick, I could really use that. But like you said, I mean, this is not a normal draft. Like it's very rare for a guy from the island to be, available that high and to go. So, for us, it's a no-brainer to somebody coming in from the outside. So, I don't know how much Jarmo Kekalainen has been paying attention to this, but like if he comes in, I don't think he'll think of it that way. But again, now we're just gonna have to see, and that's every day is going to be a different anxiety-filled day now until the draft actually happens. One more job opening thing as well that I meant to mention, I think last week, but so the Canucks parted ways with Rick Tocchet. He is probably going to come east to coach for the Flyers, who obviously did not hire Mike Sullivan, who's now coaching the Rangers. But another guy that is out, his contract is expired in Vancouver, is Adam Foote, who was Tocchet's assistant. Yeah, he probably comes and, is an assistant for Tocchet again, wherever he lands. However, again, Adam Foote, as you may remember, played a long time with the Avalanche and knows Patrick Roy very well, I'm sure. But also, I found it really interesting, and I have an article here from Canucks Army about this. Foote gets a lot of credit for turning Quinn Hughes into the player that he is. Obviously, Hughes came in super talented, but like he's already now nominated for the Vezina again. The Norris again. He won last year. And a lot of the credit for that goes to Adam Foote, who's worked with Hughes a lot and has taught him the value of defense and how to play. It's funny because Adam Foote and Quinn Hughes are two completely different players, but I guess Adam Foote knows what he's doing. He was a banger in the old days, a kind of a Darian Hatcher type. You wouldn't think that he would have a lot to teach at Quinn Hughes, but I guess he has. So I just thought that would be kind of an interesting pick too. Again, if we keep talking about Patrick Roy hiring his own assistants, getting some more guys in here now, obviously he might have a little bit more latitude to do that. I think it'll be kind of interesting to see Adam Foote come in because he might be able to talk to Noah Dobson and turn his game around. Now, I'm not saying he's going to become Quinn Hughes, but that would be pretty interesting. So I don't know. I'm just kind of dreaming about that. I thought it would be kind of neat, but again, he could end up anywhere or nowhere. And, it's just kind of a thing that when the Islanders are in this sort of limbo, it's easy to tie all these little threads back to them. Rob Blake is out of a job. Well, how does that affect the Islanders? Or Adam Foote his contract is up. How does that? I didn't even know Adam Foote was an assistant coach for the Canucks until his contract expired. And all of a sudden I got like a million things going on. Well, maybe he can come to the Islanders and he knows Patrick. Wow. Oh, but what about Noah Dobson? So obviously it's easy to spiral in that way, but kind of fun. So we'll see. I don't know. This feels like, the more we talk about it, the more I think about it, just to kind of tie everything together. This feels like a very momentous day.
Oh yeah.
In Islanders history, like the kind of day, like you said, we're going to look back on 5 years ago and be like, well, that was the day everything went to shit. Or that was the day everything turned around. And it was, don't forget the very strange season that we all went through. And then all of a sudden, Monday, May 5th, 2025 was the day that, the switch got flipped and the Islanders all of a sudden became a different team. Like, I might be overstating it, but does it kind of feel that way a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, and this is, it absolutely is. It's a huge day. It's a momentous day. You don't know how, right now, like there's all the potential in the world for it to be that, right. Which is why, we were told, we're told repeatedly over and over and over again that you guys are so stupid. You got to lose so you can win the draft lottery.
Yeah. Right.
And tank so you can win the draft lottery.
Nope.
And no, what you got to do is you got to have a miserable season, a cruel, wretched season where you get shut out by the Ducks and the Blue Jackets, and you have to address 11 different defensemen by like the midway point. Matt Barzal gets hurt twice. That's what you got to do to win the lottery, and it really kind of just is a reminder that you just, doesn't matter what anybody says or predicts or guesses or writes about or my 3 takeaways is about anything. It's just it happens and you're just there to react to it because that's sports. Like, it's supposed to just kind of happen in front of you. And what happened in front of us today was just absolutely awesome. And it could turn into like the coolest thing ever if the Islanders go ahead and do the romantic thing here, which is, as we keep saying, like that's kind of the point of this whole endeavor of being a sports fan is stories like this. And I really, really am hoping, putting my faith in the Islanders to do this. And it's going to be more on the nose, right?
Yeah.
There is an Islander. Just make him an Islander. And I one of the things that, and I feel like, it feels like it's already happening is people are like, oh man, what a reach. Like the difference here really doesn't, it's not a reach. It's the guy who was supposed to go first overall before the season. Then now he's not, he's supposed to go second or third. We're not reaching. It's not crazy. Like there's not a huge gap. I think that's just
he's not projected to
go
28th, right?
Right.
Like,
Yes, that's it. Yeah, and we keep saying it like it's not. So that's not what we're saying here. What we're saying here is draft a top 3, a consensus top 3 prospect inside the top 3, and he just happens to be an Islander. So yeah, and congrats to all the guys on the Captain Lou over there in Freeport. I mean, it's pouring out right now. I can keep talking to you and I'd be on the nautical mile. That's how close I live to the nautical mile here in Baldwin. And, it's basically a right turn and then a right turn and I'm there. It's just, I just got to traverse some canals.
It's crazy.
And it's pouring out.
It's crazy that a guy from that close to your house.
Yeah. Or his job. Yeah.
First overall.
Yeah. His job. Yeah. He's, I know my sister got married on the nautical mile right there. So, I mean, it's just do it, and I hope it's quite a scene wherever, or it was quite a scene in Hot Pog or wherever tonight, because this kind of stuff is it's too magical, and I really hope that these whoever, as you keep saying, the Islanders don't have a GM, whoever is the GM of the New York Islanders, I just hope that they understand the gravity of the pull of this place when it comes time to make the selection. And it really does suck that it's a month and a half away now.
It's going to be a month and a half of people all pretending like they have the Islanders' best interest in you. You got to take this guy. You got to do this. You got to do that. Whereas, again, these guys would just as soon move the Islanders to Hamilton or, Cole Harbor or whatever, then watch them get a good player. Like, it doesn't matter. And like you said right off the bat, like, even if they take, no matter who they take, it's going to be the wrong pick. Like, it doesn't matter. I mean, if they take Schaefer, that's going to be like, well, I can't believe they left James Hagens on the board. He's an Islander. And it'd be like, okay, well, like, or I can't believe they didn't take Misa. He's so good. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's just going to be that way. I mean, even after taking Tavares, they were already like, oh, he's going to want out of there. He's going to get traded. Like, I remember all this stuff. Obviously DiPietro was like, without question, oh, what are you doing? Like that in that case,
we're like, we don't know. We don't know.
I didn't do it. It's not my fault. Don't look at me. But yeah, so I mean, the one guy that we could all agree they made the right pick on was Dennis Potvin. that was before written language was a thing back in the 70s. So it's an exciting time. We should enjoy it, soak it in. The Islanders are going to be the toast of the NHL for a little while. I'm sure Elliot Friedman on the next episode of 32 Thoughts will have absolutely nothing important to say about this at all, because he never does. Because he today's episode, he's like, well, Lou Lamoriello is still there, so I don't want to say anything about the Islanders. He is? Okay. Well, I guess this is just going to be the way it's going to be for a while. So, but we'll see. And again, just, I don't think they need to overthink this. I think you and we're in agreement. A lot of people listening to this won't be in agreement, but I think ultimately, if you think about it, it just makes the most sense. This is not an opportunity that's going to come around. And, maybe these guys do turn into the next Cale Makar or whatever, but I don't know. There's not a lot of Long Islanders be able to take it first overall in the draft. So.
Right.
And then they're going to do like the combine. They're going to do the interviews. Like, there's a lot of here and there between now and then. And so I can't imagine that James Hagens' interview is going to go so bad that they're going to be like, fuck this guy. We can't take that. What is he out of his mind? We can't do this. So he's going to wear his Radek Martinek jersey to the interview. You got it. Anyway, so we'll see. Okay. Again, reminder that the poll for Weirdest Islander of the Year goes up at patreon.com/IslandersAnxiety on Wednesday. Get over there. It's a public post, so anybody can vote. So please go over there. And while you're there, hey, maybe sign up to be a patron, because we're doing stuff all summer long. Mailbags, country club atmospheres. Who knows what else? You can't go wrong. Trust me. $5. It makes a lot of sense. So patreon.com/IslandersAnxiety. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible.com, YouTube, iHeartRadio, everywhere you get your podcasts. Please leave us a review where you can. We really appreciate it. Our theme song is Morning Haze by Family Dinner. Listen to more of their music on Spotify and check out their record, God Looks Out for Fools. Read Lighthouse Hockey every single day for your most up-to-date Islanders news and discussion. I can't imagine what Dom has cooked up for this lottery win that he definitely did not expect, like the rest of us. Islanders Anxiety podcasts are part of the Fans First Sports Network. Shop VintageIceHockey.com. Try wines from the Pinot Project. get a Pat LaFontaine bobblehead at Foco.com. You can pre-order them now. Mike, where can everybody find you on Twitter?
The big Lebowski with 2 E's. I did. I got the app off my phone now though, so I'm slowly getting off of it though.
I did that too.
Today was the day to quickly hop back on for just a little while and take part of the fun. But
it'll take a while to wean yourself. I was on there too today. Like I had to log in to check it out, but I haven't actually tweeted anything. But follow Mike at the Big Lebowski, at least for a little while now. Any final thoughts on what has been a weird day for the New York Islanders, but in a good way, as opposed to the other weird days that we had to suffer through since October or whatever, when the season started with that terrible overtime loss to the Utah Hockey Club.
Oh man. Yeah, it's been quite a ride, and that's just the best part of sports, right? Like, is it you sign up for a team and the season starts and you just don't know where it takes you, and then the season ends, and it ends for the Islanders in severely disappointing fashion, and then completely gets resuscitated to become a completely different complexion of a season now. And through all of it, right, through the blown leads and the terrible special teams and the 6 shutouts in like their first 12 games, and that you remember what their first win of the season was?
It wasn't Dallas because Colorado.
Yeah, that Colorado game where they looked like world beaters, and then like 2 nights we're like, okay, like that's the team that we were expecting to see, you know, whatever. And then the next game they played was they got shut out by Joel Hofer and the Blues, and they lost one of those classic 0-0s that goes to overtime. Islanders lose, right? So and that was that started a string of 2 of 3 games where they lost 1-0, by the way, because then 2 games later they lost 1-0 to the Red Wings. My point is that, like, it just, you know, it takes you places, and you just really have no idea what the next day will bring in sports. And all of this is just added up to the Islanders having the opportunity to draft a kid from Long Island who worked his summers on the Nautical Mile in Freeport. Like, you couldn't, as I keep saying, like, he really is a Billy Joel song, and that's where the season has put us. And the draft is technically the end of the NHL season, right? It's like the next season begins on July 1st. So the season will end with the Islanders drafting first overall somehow, or at least having that pick. But it's just what an outrageous season this has been, and continues to be. So I really just can't believe it. So this is
it's an unbelievable day.
It's just a great day. Yeah, great day. We heard from just about everybody. We got the governor. She's involved. So who knows what the next couple of days will bring.
Who knows? Days, months, we shall see. But we will be here the entire time. Again, we are going to be alternating episodes from here on out, but should the need for an emergency episode in between there arise, I'm sure it will. We will be there and we will be joining you. So keep an eye on Islanders Anxiety page at patreon.com/Islanders Anxiety for announcements and schedules and stuff like that, or just follow either of us on social media, or just keep your ears open because we'll be there. All right. Thanks a lot for listening. We will talk to you again soon, but if not, it'll be a couple weeks before our next episode of Anxiety. Until then, there'll be a Weird Islanders. Okay. So take care and go vote for the weirdest Islander of the year. Patreon.com/Islanders Anxiety. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.